Okay. I know I've made this kind of announcement before the videos before that you're gonna need to prepare yourselves. I've said that, like, prepare yourself, and then I do something stupid, okay? But no, I need you to take me really seriously this time around. Think of the most serious thing that exists in your life, and take me as seriously as that. If not a little more, okay? Because today's video will be filmed in ASMR mode. That is correct. I'm of course joined by my co-host Barry. Alright, so today's video we're going to be talking about Monkey D. Dragon. He is of course the father of Monkey D. Luffy, the main character, and he's also the leader of the Revolutionary Army. Now, at this point, probably a lot of you are wondering, how long am I actually going to keep this up? Many of you have probably already scrolled through the rest of this video to see if I keep it up the entire time, and you'll find out that of course I didn't. But to those that are still watching right now at this moment, I'll give you something a little special, okay? Okay. Oakley dokley smokily. Alright, Dragon Devil Fruit. Now, a lot of people at this point are just gonna throw out, he has the ability to control the weather and call it a day. Alright? Every time Dragon shows up in the story, it gets really stormy out. Logtown, giant lightning bolt comes out of nowhere and saves Luffy. That also could have been Eneru. Let's not, like, Eneru, you might be thinking, he didn't even know Luffy back then, but it could have been an accident, Eneru might have had a nightmare. He might have woken up in the middle of the night and he'd be like, oh no, and then, lightning struck, and then that's how Luffy got saved by Buggy. That is a viable possibility, but no. As soon as Dragon comes to Logtown, all of a sudden it starts storming, rain, wind, lightning, thunder, the whole shebang, okay? Baltigo, which used to be the base of the Revolutionary Army before the Blackbeard pirates found out about that. Actually, did we ever really find out exactly how that battle went down? I don't think we did. It was more like Burgess was there, and he's like, hey, Blackbeard, get down here! I found the Revolutionary Army camp! And they're like, okay, say ha ha ha, and they showed up, and apparently they ransacked the place, but all of the major figures of the Revolutionary Army, they managed to get away beforehand. But that place was known to be extraordinarily windy, okay? It was more of just like a vast, empty, white wasteland of an island that was constantly just windy and just, very, very barren there, okay? When Dragon showed up at Grey Terminal, this was years ago, back during Luffy's backstory with Sabo and Ace, when Sabo was, saved by Dragon and everything there, giant wind seemed to sweep through the entire fire of the Grey Terminal so they could, like, get the residents to safety, okay? So, yeah, every time Dragon shows up in the story, and it's very few and far between whenever Dragon pops in, we actually have not seen him appear outside of the Revolutionary Army's home base in quite a while. The last time we saw him actually do that, if you want to be, like, in the actual context of the present storyline, that was Logtown, because the whole thing with the Goa Kingdom, that happened back when, like, Luffy was, like, 7, alright? So, he shows up at Logtown, but beyond that, whenever we see Dragon, he's either at Baltigo or Kamabaka, like one of the Revolutionary Army's home bases. Dragon does not usually head out into the world on his own unless there's, like, a big significant reason for that, okay? Which makes you also think, like, did he go to Logtown, for another reason, or was he there to actually see Luffy off? Like, Luffy, like, he became a well-known pirate at the end of East Blue after the end of Arlong Park. He's like, okay, bounty 30 million. Maybe Dragon was at Baltigo, he saw his son's wanted poster, the first wanted poster Luffy had, and he's thinking, hey, if I hurry, I can make it to Logtown because Luffy's gonna have to go there to restock in order to get to the Grand Line. That's definitely where he's heading. So maybe Dragon, yeah, he's like, alright, Sabo, Ivankov. Well, I guess Ivankov was in prison at that point. Sabo, Betty, Karasu, hold down the fort. I'm gonna go see my son off. He's like, aw, Dragon, that's adorable. Wait, you have a son? He's like, yeah, just don't worry about it. And he just, honestly, Dragon probably wouldn't have told him anything. He's like, I got business to take care of. And he just leaves, right? And he just, I guess, hung out in Logtown for like a couple days in the shadows waiting for Luffy to show up. Because, he's not the best father in the world. He's leading a revolutionary army, guys, alright? He can't always be there for his son, but at least he cared. Either that or he was in Logtown for a completely other reason. Don't know what that reason could be, so I'm gonna throw out that he was there for Luffy. So, ideas regarding the Devil Fruit usually come around to some sort of Paramecia that has the ability to manipulate the weather. Now, here's a way you can look at this. You can either call it like a generic like storm fruit or something of that nature where he basically has the power of Storm from X-Men and he can control like the entirety of weather at his whim. Keep in mind, Dragon is also referred to as the world's most wanted man. So, I mean, yeah, he's the leader of the Revolutionary Army, which would obviously give him, you know, standing for that title, but also you'd figure, like, the most wanted man in the world would also have to be, like, really strong and powerful in their own right as well. You know, and having the ability to control the weather at your will, you know, that's pretty damn impressive, right? I mean, considering most of the One Piece world is an ocean, you know, having the ability, like the powers of Poseidon, not this Poseidon, but like the actual Poseidon, like controls the way, you know, Poseidon had more to deal with just the ocean, guys. Poseidon in Greek mythology basically was the god of like the weather in general, right? Like that was his domain, okay? Yeah, so the situation we have here is, you know, if he wants a lightning storm, boom, he gets a lightning storm. If he wants thunder, he can get boom, 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 thunder. If he wants rain, you can get a little bit of rain. You can get kind of sideways stinging rain and big old fat rain. That's the kind of rain that, you know, Dragon can call down at any point. Just snapping his fingers, he can just make clouds spawn wherever he is and then just have a torrential downpour occur. If he's at the ocean, imagine him at the ocean. He'd just be like, oh, some marine vessels are coming off our port side, Dragon. Yeah, don't worry about it. Snaps his finger, a freaking whirlpool comes out of nowhere and just sucks him in, okay? That would be a ridiculously overpowered devil fruit, but hey, we've seen ridiculously overpowered devil fruits before. I mean, look at Whitebeard's Gura Gura no Mi that has the ability to, like, destroy the Earth's mantle if he really wanted to, okay? And considering Dragon is one of the strongest, if not, he's gonna be one of the strongest characters we've ever seen, you know, even though, here's the thing with Dragon. We've never seen him in an actual balls-out fight. Like, the closest we've got was that one time he kind of held off Smoker. So, okay, Smoker was afraid to fight him. So far, that's all we got, really. You know, and he's, you know, whenever somebody mentions his name, and especially when they found out Luffy was his son, people were freaking out about that, of course. But we've never seen Dragon in a straight-up, you know, fight before. But considering all the build-up that we get to him, considering he's Garp's son and Luffy's father, and he's the leader of this huge faction in the world, I think it's fair to assume that if you're gonna say Dragon is like Admiral level at least, that's pretty fair in a lot of fans' minds. I mean, if he shows up and he doesn't turn out to be a frontline fighter kind of guy, a lot of people would be disappointed, me included, okay? But, let's say he doesn't have something that ridiculously powerful, where he can just control all weather phenomena at his whim, okay? It's a possibility, but let's, like, leave it to something a little bit more basic, or rather, he has an awakened devil fruit that's just really strong and allows him to do the other things we see him do just through that one ability. So, for instance, and I think the thing that a lot of people are going to come back to here is the wind. Now, we've yet to see a devil fruit that can actually, you know, manipulate the wind, you know, whether it be Logia or Paramecia. I think the closest thing we got, honestly, was in that, the dragon filler. We also got that guy named Eric, that you had the sickle fruit, you know, the Kama no Mi, that could, like, you know, have really long fingernails and, like, shoots out, like, wind blades. I think that was, like, the closest thing we got. But we've never seen a devil fruit that, like, I can control the wind. You know, I can summon gusts of wind. Maybe that's what it would be called, the gust fruit, or something like of that nature. We've never seen anybody with that ability. Now, just because we haven't seen someone with that ability doesn't mean that exists. I mean, right, let's like say, hey, we haven't seen anybody in One Piece with the devil fruit ability to, you know, manipulate oranges, so therefore it's got to exist somewhere. Actually, that could be Green Bull's fruit. Because a lot of people are leaning on Green Bull having some kind of nature, you know, Hashirama wood release kind of devil fruit. But that's neither here nor there right now. But just suffice to say, we've seen a fire devil fruit. We've seen electricity, lightning bolt devil fruits. Water devil fruit, yeah, I made a video on that, actually, on how that could actually happen. But, you know, just because of the nature of devil fruits themselves, Oda might never open that can of worms, like there might be a water fruit. But wind? seems like a pretty standard anime power, right? And One Piece, considering, it's this huge thing, and it's big in shonen, you'd figure at some point, the guy that has the wind power would show up, right? And I'm thinking Dragonwood might, very well have that power, and an awakened variety at that, because you figure, like, if you just eat, like, this is the Paramecia gust fruit, you eat it, and you can control wind. It's also possible it could be a Logia, and you can actually transform into the wind itself. Once again, we don't really get to see Dragon in a lot of combat situations, so he could be a Logia. It's just that most of the time we see him, he's at Baltigo or at Kamabaka. He has no reason to transform into his Logia state unless he was in battle, and we've never seen him in battle, really. So, and he's not, I don't think he's gonna jump into his Logia form against Smoker. Actually, if it was a Logia, that would make a lot more sense, because that would basically give him free reign to, not teleport, but travel very fast pretty much anywhere he wanted in the entire world, right? If he could just literally become the air itself and just like, hey, I'm in Baltigo in the Grand Line, but I'm gonna go see Luffy off at Logtown. Couple of hours, like, even if you're on the other side of the planet, you could travel by the wind, and if you can actually propel yourself with the wind itself, you could pretty much get wherever you want, right? So yeah, keep that in mind. And also keep in mind that even if he wasn't a Logia, just if he had the powers of just like the gust, he can just like, propel himself with wind, he could basically fly. So even, Logia or not, even just Paramecia, he could just shoot wind jets out of his hands. And now I'm picturing Dragon flying through the sky like Iron Man, like, like using wind jets. I'm like, that's just funny. I would actually kind of prefer he would be a Logia user now, kind of similar to Caesar, although Caesar had the ability to turn into very specific kinds of gases, so we know a gaseous kind of Logia form can exist. Like, his power would be the concept of wind, like, that's his power specifically. Not like he transforms into like oxygen, nitrogen, he makes up air. No, it's just wind. So he turns into wind and he can float anywhere he wants and he can shoot jets of wind and stuff like that. That's what I'm, referring to here in the context of One Piece, okay? Caesar's the one that gets more complicated with like the chemical weapons and gases and all that stuff. Okay. So if he just had that power though, just the power to manipulate the wind, yeah, that would lend to like believe that he could do all this other stuff too. Like, he can call in, he could summon, clouds from around the area, change the wind currents, maybe even change, like, the wind air pressure and all that stuff, and he can get clouds together and create storms. So his power itself is just the wind. So it's like Luffy at Logtown, a giant gust of wind came out of nowhere to get him separated from Smoker and send him down to the harbor so he can land near the Mary and he could escape. That was Dragon's power, like, wind, go! Okay, but also, gathers the clouds gather, and then a storm happens. The only thing that I would say problematic with that is that lightning bolt was extraordinarily, well-timed. To the point that it's like, okay, that lightning bolt seemed controlled to happen at that exact moment. But hey, you know what? Let's say this is the case. Let's say Dragon doesn't have the ability to just summon lightning bolts whenever he wants, because that's more in the realm of the Goro Goro no Mi. That's more Eneru's thing. So let's say he sees Luffy about to be executed up on the scaffold by Buggy, and he, Buggy's very theatrical, so he has to have a moment where he's like, I've done it! And I'm like, Dragon sees that, and then he's like, alright, tell you what, Luffy, I'll give you an opportunity to escape. Let's see if fate favors you. Let's see if your luck can actually work out and you can actually do this. And so Dragon uses his powers to summon the clouds from the surrounding area, create a storm, but at the end of the day, it's like I can't actually control, where the lightning bolt's gonna strike or anything like that. All I can do is summon a really powerful storm. Beyond that, it's all up to the fates, right? And so maybe Dragon did that, and then the lightning bolt did happen and save Luffy, and Luffy's like, whoa! Or maybe Dragon wasn't just focused on the lightning bolt. Maybe he's like, I'm gonna summon a giant storm to maybe, free Luffy, the water gets him freed, or the wind blows Buggy off, or the entire scaffolding gets blown over, or maybe something like that. It's like, Luffy, this is what I can do for you. I could summon a storm, Whatever happens, happens, but that's all I can do here, alright? Because, I guess Dragon, if he wanted to, of course, he could have jumped right right up there and, like, snapped Buggy's neck. And then, like, you know, or it popped right off. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's like, all right, Luffy, here you go. Who are you? It's not important. Just get going. You know, he could have done that, but that's not Dragon's thing. Dragon is like, I think more than anything, Dragon sees in Luffy of like, all right, he's out there to see the world. I have to, like, let him do that. And nothing's gonna be saved by me coddling him or me saving him. If he really wants to go to the Grand Line, his old dad's not gonna be there all the time to protect him, okay? So if he's gonna get to the Grand Line and survive there, he's gotta do it on his own merits and the merits of his crew, and his own abilities. So I think that's why Dragon didn't want to, like, actually step in and, like, knock Buggy away and then save his son, you know? Nothing like that. Maybe the reason he stepped in is because he summoned the storm, the lightning bolt saved Luffy, and Luffy's like, yeah, I'm gonna be free. And then Smoker shows up and Dragon's like, no. Okay. No, that's because maybe Dragon at that particular instance, he's like, okay, Luffy already escaped once. He already got away, and that was beautiful. That lightning bolt. Dragon was probably elated. He was like, if that was something that he actually did not directly summon, the lightning bolt, Dragon must have been so happy there, like, aw, man, yeah, my son's a D, alright, look at that. The fates themselves deemed it worthy for him to set out to sea. You know, I'm not gonna let you stop him, Smoker. And maybe also Dragon realized, like, alright, you know, he was being attacked by a clown before. This is a Marine officer that has the power of a Logia. Luffy doesn't know hockey. Yeah, I'm not gonna show up and be like, you know, oh, Luffy, I'm your dad. Here to lend you a helping hand. But more than anything, he's just like, all right, get going, get on the damn ship, just go. And he, you know, blows him into the Mary. That sounded wrong, but that's what happened. Okay, so let's just roll with that, I suppose, right? So yeah, that's what we got here. Now, here's something. I mean, Oda could always go the route with it like he doesn't have a devil fruit and it's more of a symbolic thing. Like, he's the leader of the Revolutionary Army, so it's always like a big storm wherever he's at. Wherever he goes into battle or whenever he lands at an island, it's like the storm of revolution has arrived, right? And so for that reason, he's still a feared man. He's still the most wanted man in the world because he leads up this entire army that poses a serious threat to the world government. But he also might have other reasons why he has that high bounty and why the people are afraid of him beyond, like, let's say he doesn't have a devil fruit. He could have other things, you know. If it was going to be revealed that Dragon had an ancient weapon, I could buy that. Or even not an ancient weapon, but if Dragon had some kind of weapon or, you know, some other kind of thing that could pose as a threat to the world government, like information or something like that. Like, if we're going to go with that theory that maybe Dragon married a Tenryubito and that was Luffy's mom and then she died and then Dragon was like, I'm going to avenge her death or something like that. Maybe Dragon has knowledge like Doflamingo does where they're like, the world government's really afraid of them. Like, they send an assassin to get rid of Doflamingo who's in level 6 of Impel Down because of the information he knows. Maybe Dragon knows the same stuff Dofi knows. Maybe Dragon knows all about Eam and he knows about the hat and he knows about all the stuff underneath Marijua and everything. You know, and only like the top rank members of the Revolutionary Army, like the commanders and Sabo and nobody else would know about the existence of Eam because this is really high stakes information and stuff like that here. But yeah, maybe because of that information or because of some weapon he holds, that's why he has such a high bounty, that's why he has such a high rank. Even without a devil fruit, he would still be a very impressive, very imposing man, of course. And if you do want to go the road with it and say he doesn't have a devil fruit, then he would have ridiculously powerful hockey. You know, Conqueror's hockey most definitely, and all that stuff. But given the information we've got so far, and given the fact we've yet to see the Wind guy in One Piece, yeah, I'm comfortable saying he has a devil fruit that's either Logia, wind-based, or wind-based Paramecia, or just storm in general-based Paramecia. But I'll tell you what right now, like, if that is the case, if it really is just a, like, Storm from X-Men, like I said earlier, there's like a generic storm fruit, where he could summon rain and control how much rain, like the barometric pressure, and he could just manipulate all of that. That would actually be a contender for the absolute strongest Paramecia in the entire world, you know, only rivaled by the Gura Gura no Mi, and only because, yeah, if someone gets their hands on the Gura Gura no Mi and just starts pounding the ground like crazy, they could cause the end of the world. Well, Dragon with a storm Paramecia could also easily end the world if used incorrectly. You know, he just summon like giant hurricanes to wipe out islands whenever he so desires. Yeah, that would be pretty damn intense. Like, make the exact perfect circumstances, like the barometric pressure and the wind currents, to have like a perfect like Cat 6 hurricane at any situation at his beck and call. I mean, yeah, that would be like around the same level, which you could also see why he would be dangerous in that regard too. I was gonna make a separate video about this. You know, I don't think I'm gonna do a video about it like as a theory, because there's really only so much to it that I can do. When it's revealed in the actual story, that's another thing altogether. But just to ask you right now that we're, because I did a Dragon video before, but this was before we found out about Whitebeard and Rogers and the Yonko bounties. How much do you think Dragon's bounty would be? And I've mentioned this before in other bounty videos, of course, but you understand right now as we stand, Dragon's bounty is probably the one that's like the biggest mystery that we have left, you know, because for so many years we were like, what are the Yonkos and what's Whitebeard's and what was Rogers and all that. I mean, yeah, we got some other pirates I'd be interested in, like what's Crocodile's newest bounty, you know, that's been reactivated, or all the Warlord's newest bounties. You see what Oda did there? He's like, all right, tell you what I'm gonna do. I'll reveal all the Yonko bounties, plus Whitebeard and Roger. Woo! But we don't have any more bounties to look forward to. No. I got you, fam. We're gonna also, you know, get rid of the Shishibukai system, so now Mihawk's got a reactivated bounty. Woo! And Hancock. Woo! And Weevil. Woo! And also Kuma. Kind of, I guess. Does Kuma... That is an interesting question. Would Kuma's bounty be reactivated? Because he's no longer a warlord, but he's also an unthinking machine that's completely in the pockets of the Tenryubito. So, yeah. Also, buggies! So, yeah. So, we got those, but then you also have Dragon right now, which would be, you know, like at the moment, Kaido has the highest bounty that are currently living in the One Piece world. His bounty is like, you know, 4.6 billion or something like that. Rogers was the highest, like at 5.5 billion, around there. So, when it comes to Dragon, is it the highest ever? So that's a situation. Also, when Brand New was mentioning Rogers, he said he's the highest for piracy, was 5.5 billion. So Dragons could maybe be 6 billion because he's not a pirate, he's a revolutionary, and also Rogers dead. But you know what? I'll tell you what. Assuming that we're keeping these separate, like, you know, these are the piracy bounties, and then here's the revolutionary bounties. If he does not have a devil fruit, and he just has, like, really strong hockey, and he also leads the army, maybe, like, 5 billion or something like that. Or maybe, considering, you know, he was the world's most wanted man when Whitebeard was still alive, maybe a little bit higher than Whitebeard's bounty, but not much. But if we're gonna go that next level with, like, he has the crazy Storm devil fruit with insane powers, I would be happy with it being, like, 6 billion or something, even higher, because, like I said, that's a pretty strong fruit, and yeah, he could easily end the world with that. And even with the wind fruit, you know, maybe not perfect absolute control over, like, weather at a whim, but still pretty near close to the point where he could summon storms whenever he so desires. So that would also be something that would probably be around 6 billion. You could say, all right, it's the highest bounty, there you go, right? Because at the end of the day, Roger was king of the pirates, and it makes sense he would have the highest bounty for a pirate. But Dragon is doing something very different. He's actively trying to destroy the world government, or destroy the Tenryubito system, which, you know, they're definitely not for that. So, you know, Roger was crazy, but he wasn't directly fighting the Tenryubito in that way. Dragon is. So, 6 billion, I don't think that's too insane to say. But yeah, what do you guys think? Let me know below about that, and what do you think about Dragon's powers, if he has them? Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll end us out with some more ASMR. Yes, I should actually do a whole separate video. Actually, a whole channel, a whole new channel opened up. How do you feel about that, Barry? I'm gonna stop now because this microphone looks extremely